I'll try to share our experience in the CIS market today and talk a little bit about challenges that we face and solutions that we have elaborated. I'll also tell you about some funny situations that we faced in the CIS market, and there are some people here that promise to laugh. So let's briefly introduce our company. This is the holding company, and if you look at the chart, you can see that we have 4 companies. That is, let's start with the credit rating agency, that's IB Rating, and then we have international law firm, the company that helps, the project management company that helps local importers from the CIS countries to attract foreign finance, to raise finance, and the promotion agency that actually promotes trade in the region and publishes IB Observer magazine that you may find at the entrance. We also organize international conferences in the CIS countries, and thanks for Newland for joining in November, and also Fabrice and Pavel. That was great, and welcome this year. I should say that we are located in Ukraine, but we cover the CIS region from Ukraine. Our clients are export credit agencies, private insurers, financing institutions, exporters and importers. Here you can see some partners that have mandated us for credit checks and legal advice at the Ukraine and CIS region. Generally we have 14 mandates, but here you can see some of them. So the main aspect I would like to call your attention to is the market gap that exists in between the demand for the financing in the CIS region and the supply. I should say that there are 2 main reasons for that. First of all, high country risks, and then also the quality of the buyer risk that may come from the information, on the lack of the information that you have. So let's talk a little bit about credit information, that's the basis for the credit decisions. In the CIS region, the information is the challenge by itself. It's very hard to get, and it's very difficult to analyze. If you decide to use the databases in the CIS countries, you have to be aware that there are lots of mistakes there. They're not accurate and not up to date. So you definitely have to verify this information with the mass media that unfortunately is a little bit corrupt in the CIS countries, and you may see the situation when you find a lot of negative information about your partner that may be not true, unfortunately. And you have to verify this by checking and this information with the buyer and with your partner. Check every fact, because we faced the situation in our practice when the buyer got the refusal from the export credit agency that found a lot of negative information that was published by the competitors. So those are like traditional sources of information, of course information providers, but you have, in the CIS countries, you have to use special sources of information. For example, refer to exporters and creditors for the payment behavior. This is very useful because then you have a real experience from people who worked with this company. So basically, working at a credit rating agency, we contact the exporters, the international exporters and the creditors of the buyer of the target company, and looking for payment behavior information. There are no special databases in the CIS countries for payment behavior. Only after the permission from the target company you can do this. But if you got this information, this is really very, very valuable. However, the main source for fresh information in the CIS countries is still the target company. So do not rely on the information from the databases or mass media only. Talk to the company, meet the company, and talk to the managers. While making the credit check in the CIS countries, we usually have the management interview with the target company, and this is very, very useful for us to understand what is behind their answers. But sometimes target company really make us smile, for example, by providing such kind of answers. If you ask them how many employees you have in your companies, you may get the answer like around 142, over 4,328 or below 3. And this is just the general information. You can imagine what should we do with the answers about the financial position, the market position of the company. You should really have a special individual treatment for that. Okay. Speaking about the target company, I should say that in general, there is a problem with the document management and the corporate governance. Sometimes it takes around 30 days for the companies just to proceed with the request. And we have only 5 days to make the credit report. So sometimes they are just not aware. But the main challenge that now belongs to the country risks in the CIS countries is the financial information. You're probably aware that that 90% of all companies in the CIS region have both official information and the managerial accounts. You cannot rely on official information fully, unfortunately, even now with the adoption of the EU laws to the CIS countries, when the official information is submitted in the electronic form without sign and stamps. So actually you never know when you get an official information from the target company, you never know whether they submitted this particular report or the other one. So you have to check this with the databases, official databases for financial information, and the sometimes managerial accounts. I should admit that there are some markets in the CIS countries that still have only managerial accounts that you may actually get the real picture from. Made in trading markets, for example, IT and telecommunications, food, for example, fish and seafood. I saw some people from Norway, so this is very, very popular. So you actually have to ask for the managerial accounts. But again, they are sent in these accounts in an Excel format, so how can you rely on that? You have to make a double check, so get official information, managerial accounts, compare to each other, compare to official databases, and to the other factors that I'll tell you later on. But the main problem is that sometimes you just cannot get the information from the target companies. In 60–70% of all the cases, you get the refusal from the target companies because they are not aware of the credit insurance procedures, or, for example, they don't know the exporter. They are telling us, okay, we will provide you with the information, but what is the party that wants the information? And you should understand that if you don't want the information provider to reveal your name, then be prepared that in 95% of all the cases, you will not get the information from the target company, and you will not get this fresh information from them. But you have to explain the procedures, you have to explain the international status to the target company, and this is not that great problem. You can deal with this. However, there are some companies that just refuse to provide information because they're not transparent. They are afraid, they are hiding something, and in this particular cases, if you understand the mentality and the way of doing business in the CIS countries, you can just evaluate this factor as a high risk, and we usually do not recommend to work with such companies. Speed up more? Okay, guys, you get prepared. Let's just keep everything. Okay, a few words about local specialties. Just three main challengers, specialties in the CIS regions, group of companies. You probably face, this is not a holding, just the number of companies that work together, affiliated, related companies, usually connected by one owner. That could be the owner de facto or de jure. Actually, if you look at the charters of those companies, you may find the same person as the owner, or absolutely different owners, de jure. However, all the companies will be controlled by the same ultimate controlling party that will not be mentioned in any documents. However, if you look at the website of the company, you will find any name and then group. Yeah, it's like digital group, for example. And then they may have 3, 5, 10, up to 50 companies connected. One is selling, importing goods. The other company is selling, like wholesaler in the country. The other one is distributing and so on and so forth. So that is done for the purpose of the risk diversification and tax optimization. If you evaluate such kind of the company and you work with the borrower, for example, do not evaluate just the borrower. Look at the other companies, affiliated companies, and in order to have the whole picture. In this case, you may use the surety agreement, or the joint surety may be used as well. Okay, trading with offshore companies, I think all are aware, this is just the very famous specialties that we have here. Just remember to have all the documents in a written form when trading through offshores with the CIS companies. Let's come back here. This is a very important slide, I don't want to skip, because in the CIS countries, we have elaborated special methodology. We do not use only quantitative factors, but also qualitative factors. For example, if the profitability is very low, then you should look at the payment behavior, if it's positive, very positive, and foreign exporters worked for 10 years with this company, and the market position is very high on the market share of the company, then definitely you should rely on those factors. If this company, for example, has like not very good financial position, but the company relies, is affiliated, to the group of companies, as I mentioned before, then just simply ask for the surety agreement and then analyze it as a whole, and you will have much higher credit limit. This is a huge problem in the CIS countries, because usually you may deal with a market leader, really like top 5 company, and but the company cannot get the credit limit from the foreign partner, because they just look, the foreign partner just look at one legal entity. This is the other fun, that we got the charter in a separate 30 pages scanned upside down. Okay, so to finish with the target companies, I should say that you, in order to work with the target companies in the CIS countries, you had to follow 3 main steps. First, to find the company. Second, to talk to the company and explain everything. And secondly, try to get the information. 3 very simple steps. Very easy, because when you try to find the company, sometimes we're working as a moonlight agency, and sometimes when we're explaining and talking to the company, we feel like real psychologists, you know. And then by telling them about all the procedures and credit insurance, how does that work, that's like a university or school for adults. So you have to combine all these factors, being a real professional in CIS markets. Okay, this is the end almost. Main legal landmarks. Just very important to know that you should know your partner at the CIS countries. Every time check your partner. Then have all the documents in a written form. Do not forget to have your contract in a written form, signed and stamped with the CIS countries. Do not skip the peculiarities of the local legislations if you don't want to have the claims, because sometimes we face the situations that legal documents, with those legal documents, it's just not possible to go to court. And all the rest of the documentation, don't rely on email correspondence, use official documents instead of that, because it's not relevant evidence at the CIS countries. Okay, trading with the CIS market, you have to be both book smart and street smart. Being a book smart, I should admit that you have to make a really deep investigation of your partner, make an individual treatment of each case, compare each factor, use various sources of information, because there is a great potential for trade, for insurance, and for financing in the region. You just have to understand the mentality and the way of doing business, the business history that is behind. Companies are really very inventive in the region, but being flexible and understanding their mentality, you will find the real approach to them and trade more, finance more, insure more, and earn more at the CIS region at the end. Just to to finish my presentation, I want to say, when you are traveling to the foreign countries, you are aware of the special situations that you can see there. You're getting prepared, you have your map, you have your guidance, and then you're ready to go. You're not afraid to go there, not just because you've never been there. So that's about the CIS country. If you're prepared, you know the risks and you know how to mitigate them, you're well prepared, you have your map. So please welcome to the CIS countries.